If you are over the age of 60 and you frequently notice that by 5 o'clock in the evening, your ankles are swollen, your socks are leaving deep, uncomfortable indentations in your skin, and your shoes feel incredibly tight, you have probably been told a very terrifying lie. The immediate reaction from most people, and sadly even from many rushed medical professionals, is to assume that your heart is failing. You are told that your heart is too weak to pump blood effectively, causing fluid to pool in your lower extremities. This fear drives millions of older adults into a state of panic, leading to an endless cycle of anxiety and the prescription of heavy diuretics, or water pills, which come with their own miserable side effects. But what if I told you that in a massive percentage of these cases, your heart is actually working perfectly fine? What if I told you that this swelling, known medically as peripheral edema, is not a heart problem at all, but rather a mechanical failure of a completely different, often ignored system in your body? As a doctor who specializes in the physiological changes of aging, I see this misdiagnosis constantly. Today, I am going to reveal the true reason your ankles are swelling, why standard water pills might actually be making your life more difficult, and I will give you one remarkably simple, completely free physical trick that acts as a manual pump to drain this fluid away in just a few minutes, right from the comfort of your living room chair. Let me share the story of Arthur, a 68-year-old retired engineer who came to me deeply distressed. Arthur was an active man, but over the past year, he started noticing that his lower legs were ballooning up every single afternoon. By dinner time, his skin looked stretched and shiny, and his favorite walking shoes no longer fit. Terrified that he was developing congestive heart failure, he visited a walk-in clinic. Within 10 minutes, he was handed a prescription for a powerful diuretic called furosemide. The doctor told him to take it every morning to flush the water out of his system. But here is what happened to Arthur. The water pill did exactly what it was supposed to do. It forced his kidneys to extract water from his blood and put it into his bladder. Arthur spent the entire morning running to the bathroom. He became severely dehydrated, his mouth was constantly dry, and he felt dizzy every time he stood up. But the most frustrating part? By 6 o'clock in the evening, despite peeing all day long, his ankles were swollen right back up again. He was exhausted, frustrated, and still dealing with the exact same problem. The reason the medication failed Arthur is because the doctor treated the wrong system. The water pill extracted fluid from his blood vessels, but the fluid pooling in Arthur's ankles was not inside his blood vessels. It was trapped in the tissues outside the vessels, trapped in a system that a diuretic simply cannot easily reach. To understand why this happens, we have to look at a brilliant but highly misunderstood network in your body called the lymphatic system. While your heart pumps blood through your arteries to deliver oxygen, your lymphatic system acts as your body's cellular sewage and drainage system. It collects waste, toxins, and excess fluid from your tissues and transports it back up to your chest to be processed. Here is the critical difference, and the exact reason your ankles are swelling. Your circulatory system has a powerful, muscular pump to push fluid around. That pump is your heart. Your lymphatic system, however, has absolutely no central pump. It is a passive system. It relies entirely on tiny, one-way valves and the physical movement of your muscles to push the fluid upwards, against the brutal force of gravity. When you were 30 years old, you had dense, highly active muscles in your legs that constantly squeezed these lymphatic vessels every time you moved, effortlessly pushing the fluid up toward your chest. We actually call your calf muscle the second heart of the human body because its pumping action is essential for returning fluid from your legs. But as we cross the threshold of 60, two things happen. First, we naturally lose muscle mass, a condition called sarcopenia. Your calf muscles become thinner and less powerful. Second, we tend to sit much more than we used to. We sit to watch television, we sit to read, we sit at the computer. When you sit in a chair with your legs hanging down towards the floor for hours at a time, your second heart falls completely asleep. The pump turns off. Gravity takes over, pulling that lymphatic fluid straight down into your feet and ankles. Because the pump is turned off, the fluid just sits there, stretching your tissues, causing pain, and leaving those deep sock rings. Furthermore, many seniors are taking blood pressure medications, specifically calcium channel blockers like amlodipine. These medications are notorious for relaxing the arterial walls to lower pressure, but they do not relax the veins in the exact same way, creating a pressure mismatch that physically pushes even more fluid out into your ankle tissues. So, you have more fluid leaking out, and a broken lymphatic pump that cannot push it back up. That is why Arthur's ankles were swelling, and it had absolutely nothing to do with a failing heart. Before I show you the exact mechanical trick to fix this and turn your second heart back on, I want to pause for just a moment. If this explanation is making sense to you, and you appreciate getting the full scientific truth rather than a rushed 10-minute consultation, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. This channel exists for one reason only: to arm you with the deep, actionable medical knowledge that modern hospitals simply do not have the time to provide. By subscribing, you become part of a community dedicated to aging with strength, and you help us bring this vital information to other older adults who might be suffering in silence. Now, let us get back to fixing those swollen ankles. If the problem is a mechanical failure of the lymphatic pump, the solution is not a chemical pill. The solution is mechanical action. We need to manually turn your second heart back on and create a vacuum to pull that fluid up. I taught Arthur a highly effective, two-step routine that I call the lymphatic vacuum flush. It costs nothing, it takes exactly 5 minutes, and you can do it while sitting in your favorite armchair watching the evening news. Step 1 is to create the vacuum. Your lymphatic system eventually empties into your bloodstream right under your collarbones. To pull fluid up from your legs, you have to change the pressure in your chest. You do this through deep, diaphragmatic breathing. While sitting back in your chair, I want you to place one hand on your stomach. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose for a count of 4, making sure your stomach pushes out against your hand. Do not let your shoulders rise. The breath must go deep into your belly. Hold it for 2 seconds, and then forcefully exhale through pursed lips for a count of 6, letting your stomach fall flat. When you take this deep belly breath, your diaphragm drops down. This physical movement creates a powerful negative pressure, an actual physical vacuum in your chest cavity, that acts like a siphon, forcefully sucking stagnant lymphatic fluid up from your lower body. I want you to perform 5 of these deep, slow vacuum breaths before moving to Step 2. Step 2 is activating the second heart. Now that you have created the vacuum in your chest, we need to squeeze the sponge in your legs. While still sitting in your chair, plant both feet flat on the ground. Keeping your toes firmly on the floor, lift both of your heels as high into the air as you possibly can, flexing the back of your calf muscles hard. Hold that squeeze at the top for 2 full seconds, feeling the tightness in your calves. Then, slowly lower your heels back to the floor. Now, do the exact opposite. Keep your heels glued to the floor and pull your toes up toward the ceiling as high as they will go, feeling the stretch in the front of your shins. Hold for 2 seconds, and lower. That is 1 repetition. You are acting as the manual pump that gravity has stolen from you. I want you to do 20 of these heel and toe raises immediately after your vacuum breathing. This simple mechanical action violently squeezes the lymphatic vessels, forcing the pulled fluid through the one-way valves, straight up your legs, into the vacuum you just created in your chest, where your body can finally process it and eliminate it naturally. Arthur started doing this lymphatic vacuum flush just 3 times a day, once after breakfast, once after lunch, and once during his evening television show. Within 4 days, the deep sock rings disappeared. His skin lost that shiny, stretched look, and his favorite shoes fit perfectly again. More importantly, he got off the water pills, stopped waking up 5 times a night to use the bathroom, and realized his heart was actually perfectly healthy. He took control of his own physiology. So, here is your practical, actionable plan for tonight. The moment you sit down to watch television or read your book this evening, do not just let your legs hang dead toward the floor. Do your 5 deep vacuum belly breaths, followed immediately by 20 heel and toe raises. If your ankles are already severely swollen, you can supercharge this by elevating your feet on a footstool, but you must make sure your feet are actually resting higher than your hips, otherwise gravity will still win. Perform this simple mechanical flush tonight, and watch how quickly your body responds. Now, I mentioned earlier that certain blood pressure medications are a massive, hidden cause of this exact type of ankle swelling. If you are taking amlodipine, losartan, or any other popular blood pressure pill, you might be suffering from side effects that go far beyond swollen ankles, including a terrifying link to cognitive decline. You absolutely need to know the truth about what these daily pills are doing to your system. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now, where I expose the 9 most popular medications that can trigger rapid dementia and severe side effects after age 60, and what you should discuss with your doctor immediately. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, your body is an incredible machine, and with the right owner's manual, you can keep it running beautifully for decades to come. Take exceptional care of yourself, because you are worth the effort. And as always, please remember that this information is for educational purposes. Do not stop taking any prescribed diuretics or heart medications without having a direct, face-to-face conversation with your personal treating physician. Stay strong, stay informed,